Hi, I'm Erin, and welcome to Unlikely Grace. This episode is part of a special series called Shifting Saints, exploring the changing ideal of holiness through Christian history. It's actually a culminating project for a seminary class I'm taking right now, and I thought I'd share it here with you on the podcast. So, these episodes won't follow our usual model for scripture meditation, but rather, I'd like us to take a journey through time, tracing the thread of what it looked like to live a life of complete devotion to God. For better or for worse, how has consecration been defined? And who were the ones held up as heroes of the faith? In this episode, we are considering the masters of learning within a movement during the Middle Ages known as Scholasticism. These were figures who took seriously loving God with all their minds. This form of study really wouldn't have been possible until Europe achieved more stability, and people had time on their hands to think and to learn and wonder. So we see scholasticism emerging after about the year 1000. As we looked at last time, monasteries were really the centers of learning before that time, establishing cathedral schools, which later, through the scholastic movement, gave rise to universities. Scholasticism also corresponded to Aristotle's writings making their way into Western Europe and being rediscovered. These masters of learning in the scholastic period emphasized dialectical reasoning. They were heavily engaged in debate and arguments, defending the church against heretics of the day. They were searching for a way to bring Christian doctrine and human reasoning together in a systematic, organized fashion. One key figure of this movement was Anselm. He is remembered as the father of scholasticism, and he believed that faith and reason worked together. But he used faith, beliefs that he already held, as his starting point, and then used reason to deepen his faith. Another key figure of scholasticism was Abelard, and he kind of reversed Anselm's approach. Abelard started with doubt. He said, "By doubting, we are led to question. By questioning, we arrive at the truth." Probably the greatest of all the scholastic theologians was the Dominican friar Thomas Aquinas. He was heavily influenced by Aristotle's writings and ideas, and he really sought to synthesize faith and reason. He saw God's revelation and human reason as complementary. As Shelley puts it, Thomas set the traditional teachings of the church in a grand, almost cosmic framework. His system aimed at a perfect harmony between the aspirations of human beings and the light of God's truth. During this scholastic period, we really begin to see a rise in people thinking and questioning and reasoning, even doubting. Something new was stirring. And though these scholastics were dedicated to defending the church against heretics of their day, you do see that perhaps blind faith in the Pope's say-so is starting to weaken just a bit, or at least the stage is slowly being set for that to happen, and for what's to come later in the Reformation and the Enlightenment. I don't want us to get the wrong idea about these scholastics, though. They weren't just about the head. Their mental activity was motivated by a heartfelt passion, an adoration for Christ, and care for his church. A story is told that later in life, Thomas Aquinas had some sort of mystical vision while celebrating communion, after which he refused to write anything else. He had been shown something by God that made everything he had written, his whole cosmic framework, look like stubble and chaff. These theologians were not driven by intellectual superiority. but by love for Christ. I'd like to close today with a prayer of St. Anselm's, and I think you'll see what I mean about love being the force that drove his study. Faith was not simply a matter of dry intellectual exercise for these scholastics. They really embraced the idea of loving God with all their mind. Anselm's prayer really shows us how his heart was driven to love and worship and devotion by what he was pursuing with his mind. So let's join Anselm in prayer. Lord, because you have made me, I owe you the whole of my love. Because you have redeemed me, I owe you the whole of myself. Because you have promised so much, I owe you my whole being. Moreover, I owe you as much more love than myself, as you are greater than I, for who you gave yourself and to whom you promised yourself. I pray you, Lord, make me taste by love what I taste by knowledge. Let me know by love what I know by understanding. I owe you more than my whole self, but I have no more, and by myself I cannot render the whole of it to you. Draw me to you, Lord, in the fullness of your love. I am wholly yours by creation. Make me all yours too in love.